Hello again, everybody. It's Les East along with Brian Allee-Walsh, NewOrleans.com, and it's Sunday evening after the Saints' 23-13 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the regular season finale at the Superdome. And Les, to me, it wasn't as much as the Saints losing this game, as much, or really how they lost this game, as to what transpired from an injury standpoint. You know, you'd like that they already had 4 playmakers out with injuries entering the game, and now they lose free safety Malcolm Jenkins to a knee injury, rookie tight end Jimmy Graham to an ankle injury, and running back Chris Ivory to a foot injury. Now, we don't know the extent of any of those injuries because Sean Payton was not forthcoming after the game. But they're, along with all the other injuries, these are things they're going to have to deal with as they get ready to open the wild card weekend on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. That is official now. They will play at the venue of either St. Louis or Seattle. That NFC West champion will be determined in tonight's game on the West Coast. So we do know that. 3:30 Saturday at the venue of the NFC West champion.
And the players who already were sidelined were Marcus Colston, who had his knee scoped 5 days ago, and Pierre Thomas, who tweaked his ankle injury, and then 2 more tight ends, Jeremy Shockey and David Thomas. So at one point today, Torrey Humphrey was the only healthy tight end,
right.
And Sean Payton loves to use 2, sometimes 3 tight ends, and that really complicates the formations that he can call when he doesn't have available to him more than 1 tight end. So yeah, there are a lot of concerns there, and we're probably not going to know much more about this injury situation until kickoff on Saturday, because we've seen the MO develop here over the course of the season. We won't hear anything until they file an injury report, which I guess Tuesday would be the first day, since they play on a Saturday. And perhaps by Thursday they'll have to declare them, and my guess is most of these guys will be questionable or probable. A lot of game time decisions. So there's a great deal of uncertainty leading up to this game. Now, once they find out who they're going to play, the good news is it will be a team they've already beaten. It'll be a team that they're familiar with, and if it's St. Louis, it'll be a team they've beaten fairly recently. So, you know, that'll be helpful to them. But you're right. Right now, the biggest concerns have to be the injuries.
And you know, to me, a relief. One of the best decisions Sean Payton made today was yanking Drew Brees with 9:15 remaining in the game and putting Chase Daniel in to kind of mop up. I mean, the game was still, I guess, still out of the outcome was still to be decided. It was 20-13 at the time. But you know what? At that point, Atlanta had already clinched the #1 seed, already destroyed Carolina, and won the NFC South championship. So really, there's nothing to gain by keeping your franchise quarterback in what turned out to be 9.5 meaningless minutes. So it is certainly a concern, as you said, going into this week of preparation for whomever they play. And it now means that they're going to have to go on the road to accomplish 2 down. And it's been done before, but it's not been done with any regularity, and it's going to be quite an achievement if they pull it off.
Yeah, it will be, and we should say, I guess the one way they could actually have a home game would be if they and Green Bay were to meet in the NFC Championship. They will be on the road next week. If they play in the divisional round, that'll have to be a road game as well. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's been done, but not very often. But you know, the NFC is so close right now, and you know, a lot of the players didn't really want to say, you know, I know you asked several players this, they didn't really want to say we're the team to beat or sound boastful or anything, but at the same time, their feeling was kind of like, you know, well, we're the only team in there that won the Super Bowl last year, and until somebody beats us, you know, we have as good a chance as anybody. And, you know, look at this first team, as I already said, is going to be a team they've already beaten. The next game would be either Atlanta, who they just beat last week, or Chicago, who they've not played, but they certainly could beat. So I don't think there's anybody out there where you say, boy, they need to avoid that team. It's definitely doable. But it's quite a challenge to potentially have to win 3 consecutive road games in the playoffs.
Let me just run through the NFC seeding real quickly as we know it. #1 is Atlanta, #2 is Chicago, #3 is Philadelphia, #4 will be the NFC West champion, either Seattle or St. Louis. Number 5, of course, is New Orleans. And number 6 is Green Bay, which eked out a win over the Chicago Bears. And by doing so, they knocked out Tampa Bay in addition to. And you know, just real briefly, another thing that struck me coming out of today's game was what the injuries for sure and how they're going to affect the Saints' preparation for next week. But Tampa Bay finished with a 10-6 mark, and Scott Shanley paid Raheem Morris, the coach of the Buccaneers, a great compliment. He said, look no farther than him, no further than him if you're looking for a NFL Coach of the Year candidate, because Raheem Morris did a 10-6 turnaround from 3-13 a year ago, and he did so with the last 5-6 weeks of the season with a number of guys on IR. They lost a number of guys.
Yeah, they did. A lot of starters.
A lot of starters. So, you know, they kind of sent out a warning, sent a message to be reckoned with next year.
Yeah, and you know, I think there were a lot of people watching the NFL last year that thought he was in over his head last year. He was, I believe, a position coach when he was hired. And a lot of people thought he was not up to the task with the way they struggled last year. Then when they started off this year, everybody said, well, they haven't beaten anybody who's any good. They're not really that good. Well, they beat a good team today, a team that thinks it can get back to the Super Bowl.
Beat a good team that really didn't come in with both fists, you know.
Right.
They didn't, but I still think that Tampa Bay still came and showed a lot of heart, and they showed that they're going to have to be dealt with in the very near future.
Absolutely, and you know, you look at the young quarterbacks in this division. I mean, Drew Brees is the elder statesman. He still presumably has several good years in front of him, and then Matt Ryan in Atlanta, Josh Freeman in Tampa Bay. It looks like you have good coaching situations in all three places. So it's going to be a tough division for a while. And now Carolina is going to go out and start fresh with a new regime. We'll see how well they do, but they could be drafting someone like Oliver Luck if they hire a good young coach. This division could be really challenging for a long time to come.
Yeah, you look at the way this division ended up in the regular season. Atlanta 13-3, the Saints 11-5, Tampa 10-6. Okay, and just a real quick an aside to this whole thing. The Saints finished the season with 10 receivers that had at least 20 catches, which is a first in the NFL. It's never been done before. 10 receivers with at least 20 catches.
And if they'd gotten 3 more to Adrian Arrington in his first NFL game today, he would have been number 11.
Right.
So
right.
It just shows how talented this offense is, and what a good job Sean Payton and Drew Brees do of fitting everybody into the equation when it comes to throwing the ball. And you know, Drew Brees was throwing the ball to Torrey Humphrey in the second half when he didn't have any other tight ends. They went to Adrian Arrington, who essentially just stepped right into Marcus Colston's role. It wasn't like they tried to hide him anywhere in there. He was prominently in the game plan. So that's another remarkable thing. And I believe if going into overtime, Peyton Manning had tied Drew Brees, who had broken his own NFL record for completions. So I think Peyton probably broke that record in overtime. So a lot of weapons, and Drew Brees certainly takes advantage of all of that.
So before we say a bit of fond adieu to the regular season and everything, we would like to wish everyone from NewOrleans.com a very happy and prosperous New Year. And it's going to be exciting. You know, it's going to be a tough challenge on the road for the Saints to do that, but you know what, if they can get some people healthy coming in, they've got as good a shot as anybody, and I'm excited to get this thing rolling. How about you, Les?
Absolutely, and tomorrow we'll be able to sit here and talk specifically about the team that they're able to play. And we should also mention, I don't know if they can hear it out there, but they're working on the field right now, because in just a little over 48 hours, the All-State Sugar Bowl is going to take place in here, which apparently will be the last football game in this building this season. Now the Saints do have to go on the road for the postseason, but like you said, they probably have as good a shot as anybody. And I'm really curious to see how they respond to this, because they played very well on the road, and I don't think that phases them in the least. Darren Sharper said, you know, obviously, you know, I want to play at home. I prefer to play at home. But going on the road, I don't think phases them at all.
No, they're a bunch of veterans, guys that have been there, and they certainly have done that now after last year. And I think in talking less with these guys, a lot of them feel very confident they can draw on that experience. You know, they're one of the few teams that has done it. out of the NFC recently. So, well, not recently, but it's quite an accomplishment for them to even get back into the hunt. So, without further ado, we're going to say good night for Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh from the Superdome. A quick wrap. Saints take it on the chin, 23-13 to the vastly improved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The end of a long and successful 2010 season. Aloha, everyone.